I don't know why either team played last night, considering Miami and Philly suited up a combined 18 players and 15 were ruled out. But regardless, the Sixers narrowly beat the Heat in overtime. You know me, bro. Let's talk about it. Joel MVPIID. If this isn't the most dominant big in the game right now, I don't know who is. Even in the absence of two starters, the Sixers maintained their offensive identity. 3 around the perimeter and 1 in the dunker spot gives Joe enough space to break his man down. And you know what we call that? Dog food. Again, when Joe turns and has to decide what to do with the ball, he sees nothing but space. Every defender is occupied, which gives Joe enough room to go to work. 35 of his 45 points scored came in the second half and overtime. And really, Miami's defensive walls, their double teams and their triple teams, didn't work to stop him. Once more, even without starters, the floor was spaced well enough to break the game down into one-on-one Joel Embiid matchups. And you know how that goes. That's a 7-foot, 270-pound man Euro stepping to the rack. At the start of the third, the Sixers trailed Miami 63-57. Joe then single-handedly outscored Miami 20-18 for the next 8 minutes. He assisted 3 shots too. Miami had no answer. Look at Joe in the post. He sees the double coming and gets a fadeaway shot off before it gets there. To send the game in overtime, Joe hit a pull-up midi in Precious Achiuwa's grill. And to no surprise, he took the game over and dominated in overtime. He's been nasty off the dribble too this year, shooting 83% from the field there. He got to the line 9 times after halftime and made all free throws. He's on a mission this season, and this marks the 5th game he's directly impacted the outcome. Ben Simmons only took 2 shots in a game where his aggressiveness was needed. Let's find out why. Ben, my boy, it's not getting easier coming to your defense nowadays, but I'm still doing it. 2 shots is inexcusable though. Miami game plan to lock him up. Most of Ben's production, all of Ben's production comes from getting downhill, but he couldn't do that against Miami's wall. The Heat game planned to play Ben the same way they played Giannis. Form a wall and don't let him get downhill. Ben is top 10 in the NBA for assist points created, so he still found his guys. But ultimately, Miami did everything they could to prevent Ben from getting downhill, where he does all of his damage. And this wall threw Ben off for the entire game. I do want to take into account the potential knee injury and the fact that this team just got affected by COVID. But the film on Ben is abundant, and this isn't something that hasn't happened before. Toronto, Miami, and Boston have all utilized these walls against Ben, and it's up to him to break them. And until he does, these teams are going to keep using them. I mean, it's exactly how Miami slowed Giannis down in the postseason last year. And developing a face-up game would be crucial for Ben too. Miami won't fully commit to doubling Ben in the post here because they know he won't shoot. Ironically, this is how Miami defended Giannis in the post last year. But when Ben talks about making the best possible play for his team, this is what he means. Miami might double, but they don't, and this is exactly what the Heat wanted to happen. Again, Ben doesn't use a face-up game, so even though he thinks the double's coming, it's not, and this gives Miami a chance to rotate back into place. Whereas, as soon as Joe gets the ball down there, Ty Hero runs over to double, but it's too late. He's too good. Danny Green responded to an 0 for 9 night from the floor by nearly setting a franchise record for 3-pointers made in a single game. Talk to me nice, 3 rings. DG did a little bit of everything from distance, pull-ups, in transition, shots off of handoffs, and shots off the catch. You'll have to live with him as a streaky shooter, but he's tied for the 9th most catch-and-shoot threes in the NBA. He's doing his job. Tyrese Maxey averaged almost 24 points per game in his past 3 games. He moved up to 3rd among rookies for total points scored, and he's been taking care of the ball exceptionally well. Among rookies, Maxey has the 3rd most drives, but the most makes and the most points there. He has more points as a pick-and-roll ball handler than Chris Paul, John Wall, and Lou Williams do. He's made 60% of his layups through 12 games, and 54% of his attempts on drives. The two-man game has been a perfect complement to his game, but once he starts to get that J to fall, he's gonna be dangerous. And the thing is, he's only 20. He's younger than me! Different players from Philly's second and third units stepped up and expanded roles. Mike Scott seems to be finding somewhat of a rhythm on offense again. He made 4 threes against the Heat after making 5 threes total in his first 6 games. And the Sixers second round pick, Isaiah Joe, is playing with some confidence. He's shooting close to 40% from deep over his past 4 games. If he could continue to alleviate the defensive pressure on his teammates, he's gonna continue to get minutes. And with no hesitation, he pulled and sank a game-saving bucket for Philly. And I've been pretty disrespectful to Dakota Mathias, but he put the game on ice. Real briefly, let's look at the defense. There was a few times where Simmons made some costly fouls on shooters coming around screens. Other than his playmaking, it just really wasn't a good night for Simmons on both ends of the floor. He fouled out and couldn't play in overtime. There was some miscommunication for the Sixers on the defensive end too, but that I'll attribute to guys playing in expanded roles with different rotation players. If someone doesn't get a hand on here, oh my God, no one's gonna step up here? You gotta get a hand on the shooter. There was even a few times when the Sixers' help defense cost them a few points. There's 2 in the area here, so Maxey got caught sagging off of his man too much. Mike Scott dropped down to tag the cutter, but left Kelly Olynyk behind the arc wide open. But the positive observation to take away is that JoJo is also a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Not only did his presence bother shots, but he totaled 5 steals and 6 deflections. Joe has been active in passing lanes, best exemplified by a career high in deflections through his first 10 games. Hold on, wait a minute. Are you sure you want to do that, Ty Hero? Yeah, that's what I thought. JoJo's also tied for top 10 in the NBA for total steals and blocks. Look, bro, that does it for me. I appreciate you hanging out with me. As always, I'll see you when I see you. Hit me up with a sub, comment below, holler at me on Twitter. Do whatever you gotta do, but most importantly, stay solid, baby. Stay solid, baby. I'm off this.